chosen one, lock your eyes on this message right now. That strange feeling you have been carrying all week, the one you cannot quite name, stop running from it and let it speak. Because what I am about to tell you is not a warning. It is a verdict. They saw it. The ones who have been working against you, whispering about you, positioning themselves around you, they finally saw what has been standing behind you this entire time. And the moment they saw it, everything shifted, not gradually, not slowly, instantly. Like a room going dark when the power cuts, they are not loud anymore. Have you noticed that? The ones who had so much to say about your life have gone unusually quiet. Maybe you felt it this week and brushed it off, or maybe you assumed your season of favor had somehow slipped through your fingers. You assumed wrong. It all ends now. The warfare, the delay, the whisper campaign, the invisible resistance that made every step feel like you were walking through concrete. It ends here, and it ends because of who you are, not what you have done perfectly, but because of who has been assigned to stand behind you. The enemy is not fighting you anymore. He is retreating, and there is a specific reason that matters for your life right now. You did not stumble onto this message. The algorithm did not surface this for you. The Holy Spirit brought you here. This is a divine appointment written before the foundations of this earth were laid, and the fact that you are watching right now is not coincidence. It is confirmation. Stay until the very last second, because in the next few minutes, I am going to show you exactly who they saw standing behind you and why it terrified them. I am going to walk you through the specific moment this week when your covering was fully revealed, even though you felt completely alone, and at the end, I am going to give you the declaration that closes this chapter and locks the enemy out of your next season permanently. Do not leave this message early. Your future self needs you to stay, because if you click away now, you walk away from the verdict right before it is delivered in your favor. I know what the last 72 hours have felt like. The atmosphere around you has not been normal. It has been charged, tense, heavy in a way that felt personal, like the pressure was aimed specifically at you. Maybe you spent a moment this week completely alone and felt something weighing on you so intensely that you had to sit down. Not from sadness exactly, but from the sheer heaviness of a season that has asked so much from you. Or maybe you caught yourself watching other people move forward, watching doors open for them, while yours stayed shut, and a voice inside started suggesting the reason was you. That you had somehow missed it. That you had been too slow, too broken, too compromised to qualify for what you were promised. You feel like you are standing in a hallway between what was and what has been spoken over your life, and the hallway keeps getting longer. And in that hallway, the enemy has been playing a very specific recording in your mind on a loop. He has been telling you that the reason you cannot see your breakthrough is because of that moment this week when you did not respond the way you should have, when you pulled back instead of pressing in, when you went silent instead of standing up, when you let someone walk away and you did not chase them down. He has been telling you that moment was the moment you disqualified yourself, that your covering was conditional and you violated the condition, that the one standing behind you finally looked at what you did and stepped away. But I need you to hear what the Word of God actually says about this moment. Isaiah 54:17 says, "No weapon formed against you shall prosper, and every tongue that rises against you in judgment you shall condemn. This is the heritage of the servants of the Lord." Listen to what that promise is actually saying. Not that no weapon will be formed. Weapons will come, tongues will rise, people will position themselves, speak against you, conspire against your name, and aim directly at your future. But not one of those weapons will find its mark, not because you are perfect, because of your heritage, because of who you belong to, because of who is standing behind you. The enemy is not backing away from you because you became stronger this week. He is backing away because he finally saw your covering clearly, and what he saw ended his confidence in the assignment against your life. That moment you think was your weakness was the exact moment your covering became visible to the spirit realm. When you went silent instead of retaliating, you did not forfeit your position. You revealed whose you are. Restraint at that level is not human, and the darkness recognized that immediately. The heaviness you feel right now is not the weight of being forgotten. It is the weight of a chapter closing, the kind of closing that is irreversible. You are not starting this lap over. You are not back at the beginning. You are standing at the finish line of the hardest season of your life, and they are trembling because they can see what you cannot yet. That the one standing behind you just gave the signal that it is over. You did not ruin your story. You were protected through it. They trembled, not because of your strength, your status, or anything you built with your hands. They trembled because they caught a glimpse of what's been walking with you, and it terrified them. What stood behind you was not human. What stood behind you was not something they could negotiate with, manipulate, or overpower. And the moment they saw it, they knew the game was already over. But here's what I need you to understand before we go any deeper. You didn't know. You've been walking through fire, through betrayal, through silence and seasons of confusion, and you did not know what was escorting you through every single one of those moments. You felt alone. You questioned yourself. You wondered why the attacks kept coming, why the opposition never seemed to let up, why people who should have loved you chose to leave or destroy instead. And the answer to every single one of those questions is standing right behind you. Some messages don't just inform, they activate. If something stirred deep in your spirit just now, you may be ready to receive the Chosen One's blueprint. This sacred guide reveals the 8 divine patterns behind your calling, your suffering, and your destiny. It also comes with the full audio book, so you can absorb it during prayer, rest, or quiet moments with God. And for those called to speak His truth, you'll also receive Activating Your Prophet Mantle, a powerful bonus ebook for those carrying a prophetic assignment. The link is in the first pinned comment, but only for a limited time. Now let me take you somewhere most people never go, because understanding that you are protected is one thing. Understanding why you were targeted in the first place, that is something else entirely. The enemy does not waste resources on ordinary assignments. He does not mobilize the kind of opposition you have faced against people who pose no threat. Think about that. Every coordinated attack, every unexpected betrayal, every door that slammed in your face at what felt like the worst possible moment. None of that was random. It was a response, a reaction. Something in the unseen world recognized what you carried before you ever recognized it yourself, and it moved against you because of it. Imagine a lion's roar, not of aggression, but of primal awareness, sensing the scent of something rare and powerful approaching. That scent is you. That power is what you carry. The enemy, like a primal creature sensing a superior force, reacts not out of malice alone, but out of an ancient instinct for self-preservation, an instinct to neutralize what it perceives as an existential threat. It's not personal, it's territorial. And your territory, the territory of your destiny, is something it cannot afford to let you occupy. The unseen world observed the divine blueprint etched within your spirit, a blueprint that promised a destiny of light and impact, and it sought to dismantle it before it could fully manifest. This is where the story of David becomes something more than Sunday school material. Before David ever wore a crown, before he killed Goliath, before he was anointed in front of his brothers, Saul was already hunting him. Saul, a man with an entire kingdom at his disposal, became obsessed with destroying a shepherd boy. Why? Because the spirit of kingship had already departed from Saul and rested on David, and Saul felt it. He couldn't explain it. He couldn't explain it. He couldn't articulate it, but he felt the weight of what was on David, and it drove him to madness. The opposition you've experienced in your life has the same root. It was never about what you did. It was always about what you carry. Think of Saul as a king whose throne is built on shifting sands, suddenly feeling the tremors of an earthquake that signals the arrival of an immovable mountain. He couldn't see the mountain itself, only the earth-shattering force it represented. Your very essence, the divine spark within you, broadcasted a signal so powerful that it disrupted the established order of the adversary. He saw not a humble shepherd, but a nascent sovereign, a king in embryo, and that vision, that unseen reality, ignited a consuming fear that twisted his reason. Your life is not merely a series of events. It is a tapestry woven with divine intention, and the enemy's attacks are not random snags, but desperate attempts to unravel the sacred threads of your destiny, because he knows, even if you haven't fully realized it, that you are destined for more. But here's where it goes deeper, and I need you to stay with me because this is where most people stop short of the real revelation. You've accepted the idea that the enemy opposes you. What you haven't fully accepted is that heaven has been actively, strategically, and relentlessly fighting on your behalf the entire time. Not just permitting things to work out, fighting. The same intensity that darkness brought against you, the Most High deployed in your defense. You were never in that battle alone. There were moments where doors should have opened and they didn't, not because God forgot you, but because what was waiting behind that door would have destroyed what God was building in you. There were people who should have had more power over your life and they didn't, not because of luck, but because something stopped them. You called it coincidence. Heaven called it intervention. Consider it a divine counterintelligence operation. While the enemy was deploying their strategic assaults, the angelic hosts were engaged in a silent, powerful defense, rerouting attacks, erecting unseen barriers, and strategically closing doors that led to destruction, not to hinder you, but to preserve the sacred vessel God was meticulously crafting. Every closed door wasn't a rejection, it was a redirection. Every formidable obstacle wasn't a sign of your inadequacy, but a testament to the powerful forces that deemed you too precious to expose to premature peril. It's like a master gardener shielding a delicate bloom from a sudden frost, not because the bloom is weak, but because its full flowering requires a protected environment. Your seasons of waiting were not periods of dormancy, but periods of vital cultivation, shielded by an omniscient love that understood the perfect timing for your unveiling. And this leads us to something most people miss entirely, something hidden in plain sight that changes the way you read your own story. The attacks were not evidence of your weakness, they were evidence of your assignment. Weak things don't get that kind of attention. Inconsequential lives don't attract that level of darkness. The warfare you survived, and you did survive it, was proportional to the threat you represent to the kingdom of darkness. And once that lands in your spirit, once that truly moves from your head to the place where you actually believe things, you will never interpret your suffering the same way again. Reflect on the sheer energy expended against you. A mosquito buzzing around your head doesn't warrant the deployment of a SWAT team, but a potent threat to the entire established order? That requires a full-scale mobilization of every dark resource. The intensity of the storm is directly correlated to the magnitude of the treasure it seeks to extinguish. Your suffering wasn't a sign that you were failing. It was an undeniable marker of your immense value and the critical nature of your assignment. It's like seeing a medieval castle under siege. The walls are thick, the defenses are elaborate, not because the inhabitants are ordinary villagers, but because the king resides within. You are the king's citadel, and the siege is proof of the royalty you carry. This understanding recalibrates your entire perspective. Your scars are no longer marks of defeat, but badges of honor, testaments to battles fought and won under the vigilant protection of the Almighty. Coming up, the one thing you've been doing that has actually been feeding your delay. Most people never see it. It's not what you think. Stay with me, because right now, in this moment, there is a real possibility that you are still holding something that should have been released a long time ago. Not the pain, though that may need releasing too. Something subtler, something that feels like wisdom but has been functioning as a wall. You've been waiting for proof. You've been waiting for confirmation that you are who God says you are before you begin to move like it. You've been holding your identity hostage to evidence, asking heaven to verify itself to you before you'll trust it. And I understand why. The wounds were real. The disappointments were real. The people who spoke life over you and then disappeared. That was real. But waiting for proof before you walk in faith is not humility. It is agreement with the very lie that was designed to keep you frozen. It's like a traveler standing at the edge of a vast ocean, demanding to see the other shore before taking a single step into the water. The ocean is there, the destination is real, but the fear of the unknown, the insistence on empirical evidence before commitment, creates a self-imposed paralysis. You're treating your faith like a scientific experiment, requiring absolute certainty before venturing forth. But faith is not about seeing the end. It's about trusting the one who charted the course. This insistence on proof is a subtle form of unbelief, a way of demanding that God conform to your logical frameworks rather than surrendering to his infinite wisdom. You've allowed the memory of broken promises and harsh realities to become the architects of your present decisions, building a fortress of what-ifs around the potential of your God-given destiny. Think of Moses at the burning bush. God had already seen the affliction of his people. God had already heard their cry. God had already come down. And yet Moses stood there asking God who he was, who he should say sent him. What if they don't believe him? Moses was not being humble. Moses was not being humble. Moses was negotiating with his own calling. He had spent 40 years in the wilderness convincing himself that the fire he felt in Egypt was a mistake, that the vision he carried was presumption, that he was not the man for the moment. And God, patiently, firmly, without condemnation, kept pushing him forward. The staff in your hand is enough. Go. And that word is speaking to you right now. Whatever is in your hand is enough. Whatever has been forged in your wilderness is not waste, it is weaponry. And you are being told to go. Moses was clinging to the past, to the comfortable identity of a shepherd who had failed once and was convinced he would fail again. He was asking for credentials when he already stood in the presence of the credentialer. The burning bush wasn't just a divine encounter, it was a mirror reflecting God's power and purpose onto Moses. His excuses were the brittle branches of doubt, but God's response was the unyielding flame of his intention, a flame that consumed Moses' objections and illuminated his destiny. That staff, once a simple tool of his daily labor, was transformed into an instrument of divine power. The wilderness didn't render him incapable, it forged him. It tempered his spirit, stripped away his arrogance, and prepared him for the monumental task ahead. Your own wilderness experiences have done the same. The skills you've acquired, the resilience you've developed, the quiet strength you've cultivated in isolation. These are not liabilities, but your divine armament. But here's the part that requires real honesty, and I'm asking you to stay open to it. Some of the delay in your life has not been the enemy. Some of it has not been a lack of faith or a lack of readiness. Some of the delay has been a hidden attachment to the version of yourself that suffers. Not because you enjoy suffering, you don't, but because suffering has become familiar, identity forming. There is a part of you that knows exactly how to navigate pain, how to hold it with grace, how to speak about it in ways that move people. And somewhere in that familiarity, a quiet fear took root, the fear of who you are without the struggle, the fear of what happens when the defining narrative shifts from wounded to whole. This is a deeply uncomfortable truth, a shadow that lurks in the corners of our spiritual journey. It's the comfort of the familiar narrative, the story you've told yourself and others about your struggles, your trials, your enduring spirit. It becomes a coat you wear, a badge of honor even, signifying your strength in adversity. But when the potential for wholeness arises, a terrifying question emerges: who am I if I am no longer defined by what I have overcome? It's like a soldier who has lived his entire life on the battlefield, finally being told the war is over. The relief is immense, but beneath it lies a disorientation, a fear of civilian life, of a purpose not forged in the crucible of conflict. You've become so adept at articulating your pain, so skilled at navigating its treacherous terrain, that the prospect of a life unburdened by it can feel alien, even threatening to your established sense of self. Coming up, the hidden root beneath all of that, the thing underneath even this, the layer that once exposed breaks the entire cycle. Don't stop now, because what lives beneath that fear is something that will surprise you. It is not doubt, it is not even fear in its simplest form. It is an ancient lie about worthiness that was planted so early and watered so consistently by the voices and experiences of your early life that it calcified into what felt like truth. The lie says that breakthrough must be earned, that wholeness is something you graduate into after enough suffering, enough sacrifice, enough proof to God and to yourself that you deserve it. And so you keep suffering, not always because circumstances demand it, but because some part of you believes you are not yet qualified to stop. That lie is not from heaven. It never was. This is the bedrock deception, the foundational untruth upon which so many of our struggles are built. It's the insidious whisper that suggests your value is conditional, that your blessings are rewards for enduring hardship, rather than unmerited gifts from a loving Creator. This lie masquerades as prudence, as diligence, as a necessary process of purification. But in reality, it's a cage forged from self-imposed guilt and a distorted understanding of divine grace. It's like a child who believes they must perform an endless series of chores to earn their parents' love, never grasping that the love was unconditional from the start. You've internalized the performance-based economy of the world, applying it to your relationship with God, believing that your worthiness is a matter of accumulated suffering rather than inherent divine declaration. This ancient lie has kept generations bound, constantly striving for a qualification that has already been granted. And now we arrive at what I believe God wants to confront in you today, the thing you probably didn't see coming when you started watching this. The greatest barrier between where you are and where you are called to be is not the enemy trembling behind you. It is not the people who betrayed you. It is not even the wounds that haven't fully healed. It is the version of you that has not yet given yourself permission to be the person those forces are already reacting to. They're trembling at who stands behind you, but heaven is waiting for you to tremble at who stands within you, the Spirit of the living God, not distant, not waiting to be earned, not contingent on your performance or your healing timeline, present, active, already in motion. And the only thing left is for you to agree with what heaven has already declared over your life. The true blockade is internal. It's the hesitancy to step into the fullness of your divine identity, to embody the very essence that the enemy fears and heaven celebrates. You are waiting for external validation, for the circumstances to align, for the last vestige of pain to dissipate before you fully claim your God-given authority. But God's power is not waiting for your permission. It is already resident within you, a burning ember ready to ignite. The enemy's trembling is not a sign of your impending victory. It is a signal of your potential. And heaven's anticipation is not for a future performance, but for your present alignment with the truth of who you already are in Him. It's like standing at the gates of a magnificent palace, knowing it's your inheritance, but hesitating to enter because you still feel like the beggar you once were. The king is already inside, waiting for you to recognize your royalty. This is where the cycle breaks, not when the circumstances change, not when the opposition stops, not when enough time has passed. It breaks the moment you stop waiting for permission from the very world that was never meant to commission you. Your commissioning came from the throne. It was spoken over you before you drew your first breath. And everything that has tried to silence it, every attack, every betrayal, every delay, every voice that told you that you were too broken, too late, too ordinary, has already failed. Because you're still here, you're still standing, and what's standing behind you never left. The breaking of cycles is not an external event, it is an internal declaration. It's the moment you cease to look to the world for validation or authorization, recognizing that your mandate comes from an eternal source, established before time began. The enemy's power is derived from your belief in their authority over your life, and your willingness to accept their narrative. But the moment you stand firm in the truth of your divine commission, the moment you recognize that the very forces arrayed against you are testament to your significance, the foundation of their power crumbles. Your continued presence, your unwavering spirit, is the ultimate refutation of every lie that has sought to undermine you. It is the living proof that the power that raised you up in the first place is indomitable and eternal. Place your hand on your heart and declare this with me. I release every label that was placed on me by people who could not see what heaven sees. I release the belief that my suffering is my identity. I release the need for permission from a world that was never meant to define me. I am not behind. I am not forgotten. I am not too broken to be used. I carry something that darkness trembles at, and heaven celebrates. I step into this season not waiting for proof, but moving in faith. The warfare I survived was preparation. The silence I endured was formation. And what God placed in me before birth cannot be cancelled by what any human being has done since. I am chosen. I am covered. I am already walking in what God ordained. And I declare that from this moment forward I move like I know what's standing behind me. Because now, I do. If this word reached you today, don't let it pass through you like information. Let it stay. Let it work. Share it with someone who needs to be reminded that the battle they're in is proof of the calling they carry. And then go back to the first pinned comment, because what's waiting for you there was written for exactly this moment in your journey.